Here's the project. It's this laundry room. We're going to be rearranging the way the washer and dryer is in here. We're going to add a utility sink. We've got some plumbing to do and some wiring. So this will be a good project. Let's go. You're watching On the Mark with Mark. If you watched my earlier video, you know that I've been working in this room, patching this crack that was leaking water in my foundation wall. The real reason I'm starting in here is because I want to redo the way this washer and dryer are set up in here. Plus, I've got a utility sink that I'd like to install in here. Another issue in this room with our washer and dryer is this lift bucket. We have a septic system here, and this pipe right here is the lowest part of that septic system. So everything has got to get lifted up to this drain in order to be able to discharge from the basement. So the previous owners had set up this bucket, and it's got a sump pump in there. And this works, but you can see it's really getting kind of gross, and it's just time to replace it. And I've seen a really fancy one online that I'm going to be ordering and replacing with this one. The new one will be more sealed up, so you won't see the bucket of water right there. And I'm also going to rearrange the way the washer and dryer are situated here. I don't like this flexible tube that comes up here and then runs all the way across here and then does this and goes out. I would really rather see a solid steel or aluminum duct instead of that flexible stuff. And we'll take that apart, and I'll be willing to bet that it is nearly full of lint. The other thing I'm going to be doing is relocating the electrical on this wall here and the plumbing. You can see how the plumbing is in this corner here, but it's right by my sump pit, so I don't know what the plumber was thinking, but there's just no way you can put your washer and dryer right in front of this, which seems like the way it ought to go to me. And where he connected into the plumbing down here, he could have just as easily had placed the plumbing anywhere along this wall. So I'm going to be moving this the supply plumbing for the washer and dryer. Plus, I've got to add another one for the faucet for the utility sink. So I'm going to be swapping these two appliances. So what's going to happen is the utility sink is going to be first, then the washing machine, then the dryer. So the dryer will have the shortest distance for the duct to discharge the discharge air, I don't know what you want to call it, the lint, out of the house. And then the first thing you come to when you get down here in the basement will be the utility sink, which is going to be handy for me because my shop is down here. But also, if my wife has something that needs to be soaked, that'll be the first step in the process. And then I'd also like to build some shelves and kind of cover this area here. But before we do any of this plumbing, I'm going to build a wall right here. I'm going to insulate this wall, put up a full set of studs, and that'll be the first part. Another fairly expensive trip to Menards. Got the trailer loaded up there. Got the foam and the gypsum board and the 2x4s, some pressure treated 2x4s for the sill plate, and a little bit of trim for the plastic items. I've got my materials down in the shop now. So I got to start with some demolition here. I got to start by cutting these pipes off up here. And I'm going to be capping one of them permanently, a 1/2-inch cap. And then the other one I'm going to be capping off just temporarily because I'm going to be moving that way, so I'll end up cutting the pipe off again. But I don't know exactly where I want to do that yet, so I'm just going to plug it off for now because I got to shut off the water of the house, cut these, get them sweated on there and check for leaks, and then I can continue on. So the washing machine's going to be out of commission for a little while. So this is the cold right here. And I'm just gonna cut this off and put the cap on it, and that's done. Over here, this is the hot that's coming from the water heater. So the cold's actually coming from this direction, where the hot is coming from this way. So there happens to be a joint right here. I might just try sweating that joint off and putting my cap on here. And then later, I'll end up cutting that off a little further down. And then for the cold water, I'm gonna have to add a new T like that somewhere down there a little ways too. So the first thing I have to do is shut off the water and drain the system as best I can. Half-inch cap. I know you can barely see this one. It's right there. And a 3/4 inch cap. This goes right here. There we go. Let's see if we got a leak. No leaks. This is the one that I cut off here. That's gonna stay. This will get shortened down that way. Next, I'm gonna get this lift bucket out of here. Okay, I drained as much water out of it as I can. There we go. The pump still works. There's really nothing wrong with it. But it's going. Oh my gosh, the bottom of this bucket usually isn't exposed. Oh, oh, smells like low tide. Oh, oh, oh! Found a dime. Making money on this project. Let's see how this looks. It's actually not as, oh, it's dusty. Oh. I've shut the power off to these 4 outlets here, and now I'm just going to strip this wall of all the electrical because the new stuff is going to be built into the 2x4 wall that I'm going to be building here. Just a bare wall now, with the exception of the gas pipe, which I think I'm going to be able to leave right there. It'll just be in the wall. I'm going to be cutting this and putting an elbow in here to get this away from the wall. I want this to be in the inside of the room, not in the wall. I've attached a piece of plastic to this part of the wall here. This, I'm concerned, may or may not leak. And if it does leak, I don't want there to be any chance that it's getting the 2x4s wet. And that includes the sill plate too. So I got it going along the floor there a little bit too. Now there's going to be styrofoam go up over top of that as well. So there should be nothing there that can deteriorate with contact with water. I've cut my sill plate and the header plate to length for this wall. It's just a little over 16 feet long. And then I've laid out where all of my studs are gonna go. So by having them right beside each other like this, I'm sure that I've got them all in the same line. In order to get my header plate in here, this has got to be able to fit behind here. So I'm going to cut this off right here, and I've got an elbow I'm going to put in there. That should pull this away from the wall far enough to accommodate the new wall. Got that plumbing moved, and I've got the styrofoam up on the wall. It's just sitting there. It's going to be captured by the wall once the 2x4 is up, so I'm not gluing it or anything else, but that gives a real nice layer of insulation right there, so there's a thermal break for the 2x4s that are there. Here's a crazy little bit I'm doing. I'm taking a cue from the bricklayers, and I'm gonna lay this cotton cord in underneath of my sill plate, which is going to be laying right down there. And the cord is going to go behind this styrofoam and under this plastic that I've got on the wall here. So that if my crack repair ends up leaking, that there's a way for the water to get out from behind this wall. Let me put it in place and you'll see. Okay, here's the idea. This rope is going to be under this plastic, up against the wall, and then this sill plate is going to be on top of the plastic. The rope is all the way to the back. And it's in this groove. So now that rope is going to be where the water can wick out from underneath of this sill plate if that crack that I did the repair on should happen to fail. So that's the idea there. Crazy? Maybe. Okay, I got my header plate wedged up here just above this gas pipe here. And now I'm putting in some screws. After lining it up with a chalk line, I snapped across the wall here. The drill bit I had that was the exact right size for this hardware, I smoked on the second hole, which I don't know, but I suspect I hit a piece of rebar. So now I'm using one that's a little bit bigger. So I'm using this trick here. I'm dropping a piece of copper wire down the hole first, so it gives something in there for the threads to grab hold of. Got my sill plate in all the way around over here. And this wall is kind of funny. This part of the foam is cut off from the other end where the wall's a little bit shorter. And then this section here is a bunch of pieced together packing foam that I've had laying around here for some time. And I was able to get it all filled in with using a little bit of, this is 2 pieces of 1/2 inch here for this one little bit there to be able to finish it. So I've got the whole thing covered in foam now. So that's kind of neat that I was able to use that supply I had. And there's the header plate up there. I'm gonna have to go around this gas pipe. This was a big fail the other night when I was moving this angle. It's a full 45 degrees. And what I ended up doing was just putting it together like this, because otherwise all of the plumbing to the house goes through here. And if I left that open, then we wouldn't be able to use any of the plumbing. So this is just on here just for the night. I'm gonna have to cut it off here again. I think I'll probably cut it off there and just do a coupling. And then I think that'll be short enough that this can still fit in here. Sorry about the video. I'm using a different method of building this wall than what I've always done in the past. I've helped several guys finish off a basement, and typically what you do is you take a few measurements down the wall and then you assemble the wall on the floor, usually just pounding nails in from the ends, and then you stand the thing up, and sometimes it's a bit of a tight fit, but it usually works out pretty well. This is a different method, and it's partly because there's a piece of plumbing right up here, but also that method of assembling it on the floor and standing it up. The problem with that is basement floors are not level. Usually the ceiling, the top of the foundation, they do a pretty good job of getting that level, but a basement floor really shouldn't be level. Everything should be sloped towards a floor drain. So you're gonna have some dips and waves as you go along here. So in this case, because of this obstacle up here, and because I know this floor is not level, my floor drain is just right over there behind you, which incidentally happens to be the high spot in the floor here. Go figure. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna measure each individual stud and then bring it in. So each one will be a custom fit on there. And since I've already got my sill plate screwed to the floor and I got my header plate up there, then I'm just gonna toe nail with screws into my header and my sill plate. It's a new method for me. I think it's gonna work just fine. Coming along. Well, Murphy's Law came in here that this stud has to go right there. Now, I probably could have laid these out different. It would have been nice if I could have stepped around here, because then I would have only had to block in between 2 of the studs. But in this circumstance, then I'm gonna have to block across between 2 of the far studs, and then I'll bring another short one up to here, and I'll put another one across there, which I have cut right here. Like that. We'll get these screwed on, and then we can put our little shorties in between. I'll do the same thing up here on the top, like that. And now I've got another one to put right down here. I'm gonna measure that so I get it good and centered on here, and we'll get her toe nailed in. Now that's been framed in. Don't look at this. I'm going to be fixing that. Pretty well. Got this whole wall done here. Now I've got a little short section over there to do. Because I am in my wood shop here, I have access to a table saw and a drill press here. and a bandsaw. And in the interest of overdoing it, which I love to do, I have come up with a way of getting around this corner here. I've got that notch here that's going to go right around that conduit here, and then I did a lap joint here so that I can get some strength out of this. So this is going to get screwed onto the top of this cripple back here, and then I'll start in here with a couple of studs and I'll put the corner in, and then it'll be screwed down right there. So that's how I'm getting around this plumbing up here. Should be good. I've got a difficult crack to take care of right here. So before I put this last stud in, I'm going to shoot some foam in there and then throw the stud in quick so that that's sealed up nice and tight. I've redone my plumbing here. The old one had a solid piece right here. It was glued. Now this one has got some threads right here, so that made this a little bit adjustable, which really works out well for me. So I cut the length just right, so I'll be able to put a strap up there to hold on to this, so when the other pipe is going in there, it won't all be just supported by clear over here. Another thing I paid attention to was, while we have a trap here, I didn't want to go immediately into this, because then that would create an S-trap, and what that can do is it could siphon the water that's supposed to stay here that blocks the sewer gases from coming into this room. So in order to prevent that, you need from here to here to be at least 2 times the diameter of the pipe. So that would be 4 inches. So you can see I'm well past that. Since I had to come out about to here, and that's when I noticed how close I was to that. So then I just took it a little further, which is good. And now I can support my pipe up there. Very cool. This is all just dry fitted. Now I'm going to glue it all together. This piece of plumbing here is held on with these straps. I used the same strap on the gas pipe here, but they're actually not even doing anything. I may revisit how those are hung. But I have these J-hooks. I'm going to replace these straps. There's just 3 of them along here. I think it's a cleaner look and get rid of these plastic straps. Well, here's a nifty little device. This is made as a alternative to a plumbing vent. It's a little box that this type of a one-way valve goes into to allow for a washing machine to vent. I don't need it for that purpose, but I thought it was very neat. This is an unboxing video now. I probably should have made a separate video out of this. Okay, it's 3 pieces. It's got this. This is what I'm really interested in. I've got this gas valve right here that I want to formalize the exit for. I mean, it's been just a pipe hanging down from the ceiling, but I think I could use this to make a really neat, finished looking termination for this valve. What I'm gonna do is, okay, it was originally designed to go this way, and it's got this plug in here that would plug off the sewer gases that would have been coming through there. But I'm going to ditch that O-ring, and I'm gonna flatten out that little knob there, and I'm gonna screw it back in there, and I'm gonna drill a hole in this cap the same diameter as this pipe here. And then I'm gonna disconnect this valve here, and then I'm gonna run both of these up through there so that pipe is sticking through there, and then this will slide over to here, so then it'll be, I mean, it's gonna be sort of like that, but on this side of the 2x4, okay, let's just say down here. So then this will be coming through nice and neat. And then on the bottom of this, I can put this Street 90. I'll take that cap off of there, redope this up, screw that onto there. Then that'll give me my 90. So it'll be about like that. And then I'll take that plug and put the plug on the end of the 90. And then I'm gonna take this part here, which was just vented before, and I'm gonna come in here with my router and the flush cutter, and I'm just gonna trim off all of this stuff. Maybe I'll leave the top vein, cover up a little bit of that, because I just need where the pipe, where the elbow comes out at the bottom. But anyway, then that goes onto here, like something like that. And then of course I'm gonna have it this way. And then that'll make for a nice trim piece around there. And then all you'll see in there is this valve, or this elbow turned in there, and you'll be able to turn this valve, I think you'll still be able to turn the valve. I could put the elbow on first and then have the valve stick out, but it would stick a little proud of the wall, which is kind of okay here because there's gonna also be a duct for the dryer vent, and there's also gonna be some plumbing running around on the outside of this wall. So I'll have to look and see how that all fits together when I put this together. I'm gonna get to that in just a little bit. Okay, I've trimmed off most of the vents. I left that top one on there, and I did a nice round over radius with my router on there, so it still looks nice and finished. So this is going to mount on the wall this way, and see this whole area here, that's why I left some of those vents on there. That's gonna snap on there like that. And then this will have the valve in there, or maybe sticking out this way, one way or another. Be a nice trimmed plate. Okay, there was a little, like a flat piece on that acted as a handle, so you could turn this. I cut that off smoothly, and then I've drilled a hole in this cap the same diameter as what that pipe is. Now this will go inside here. So that's where the pipe is going to come out. I'll turn it a little more and get it, I don't know, I'll put it to the front or the back, but anyway, it'll be more centered. So that's the plan. A little bit of gas smell there. Let's try it like this. One idea was we go this way, and then we go this way. Let's see how this looks. First of all, will it go back in the box? Yes. Okay. It could look like that. That's not so bad. I mean, that sticks out quite a ways, but that's still really not so bad. Let's try another way. Let's see. All right, come on, you can go on there. Go on there. Okay, let's see if... Oh, yeah. Yeah, box can go over it. And then, wait a minute. Okay, now can this fit on? The answer is no. Okay, so we only have one choice here. Okay, and then it's gonna be the 90. A little more. There we go. So that is sweet, and I can turn this, and I think I'll push this to the back. Okay, so it's back as far as it can go. And we'll lube this guy up. Plenty of tape on there. So that when it's open, I want it pointing out like this. Okay, hopefully there's room for it to close. Okay, right there. All right, and is there room for it to close? Maybe I turn this so that it's not centered. So that's how my box is gonna look right there. I could slide it up. Here, I'll get it somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna attach the pipe to the 2x4. So everything is very secure. All right, gotta turn the gas back on. I bought another can of the spray foam. I'm gonna fill some of these gaps here, and I'm gonna drill some holes in here and shoot back in there again. And I need to cut this foam off around here. That filled in real nice. I also have been laying out where I want my washer and dryer and the utility sink to end up so that I can start locating where the water is going to come in and also where my electrical is going to be. While I'm shooting the foam, I'm also going to shoot a little bit into the top of that gas outlet there, because there's a slight gap between that pipe and my box, and I don't want creepy crawlers going up through there and having a place to hide in the wall. I have the electrical roughed in now. There's my outlet for the dryer and another one for the washer. And then I've piggybacked onto that GFI over here for an outlet just off to the side, kind of lower. So pretty easy. These circuits were already here. I just had to refish them through the wall there. I did trim off this foam here. I'm very happy with how that looks. It turned out kind of nice. And it looks like I got enough foam in this little corner here. Kind of came out in funny ways, but that's okay. That's it for this week. Next week I'll continue on with this project. I'm going to be insulating this wall and then hanging some drywall on it, and then I'm going to put a waterproof plastic over the drywall, so if things should get sprayed down here, they can handle the water. So if you like this video, be sure to watch again next week. Also, there's going to be a product review coming up soon on that new sump pump that actually should come today. So I need to go look at my front porch and see if it's here now. And then we'll be finishing all of this. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks for watching. Good. Oh, I'm off camera.